Dear friends, in today's lecture of heterocyclic chemistry, today we will discuss about heteroaromatic reactivity. Let us see what type of reactions they can undergo and how to determine the reactivity and selectivity in these reactions. So now we all know that the aromatic compounds they have extra stability. This we have discussed many times. The reason for this extra stability is delocalization of pi electrons, so that leads to the stability of these compounds. And the second very interesting characteristic of these aromatic compounds in contrast to their reactivity is that they undergo substitution reactions rather than addition reactions. That is the most important characteristic of this aromatic compound if with respect to their reactivity, that they undergo substitution reactions rather than addition reactions, and in these reactions their aromatic character is retained. So that's why, that is the only reason that aromatic character, they do not want to destroy their aromatic character. That's why they prefer to undergo substitution reactions rather than addition reactions. And in case of our heteroaromatic compounds, we have also heteroatom other than carbon in the ring. So the presence of heteroatom, it definitely affects their reactivity because it perturbs the system. So there are bond length variations that we have already discussed, and there is the difference between electronegativity that greatly influence the reactivity of this compound. So all of these things we will discuss one by one. Now the basic principles governing the degree and type of activity in heteroaromatic systems are means what are the basic reactions that they can undergo. The first reaction is they can be attacked by nucleophile. So let us see nucleophilic attack. First of all, we will see how the nucleophile it can attack these compounds. Then we will discuss that how it will be easy or it will be difficult. Now the heteroatom, either it can be oxygen, nitrogen or sulfur. These are most prevalent atoms that are present in the ring. Now these bonded to the carbon atom with multiple bond, they can accept shared pair of pi electrons and permits the attack of nucleophile reagent. So this, if I have to show their reactivity, we can show. So it says that the carbon which is directly attached to this heteroatom, now this X can be either oxygen, nitrogen or sulfur. Now the nucleophile can attack this carbon. Why? So nucleophile will prefer a position which is partially positive or which is short of electrons. So now this heteroatom has higher electron activity than carbon. So what it does, it attracts this pi electron pairs towards itself. So it makes this carbon partial positive and it is partial negative. Now this nucleophile can attack here. So these electron will shift here. So this is the first type of attack by nucleophiles, means directly on the carbon that is directly bonded to the heteroatom. So this can be case of pyridine. So I can give you an example of such attack in pyridine. Now you can see this system is equivalent to this C double bond, and now nucleophile it can attack here, electrons can come here. Now depending upon the nature of this heteroatom and its electronegativity, the attack of nucleophile will be easy or it will occur with difficulty. So it depends upon nature of this heteroatom, that we will discuss later. So this is the first thing, that these can be attacked by nucleophile, and basically the heteroatom bonded to carbon atom with multiple bond, it can accept shared pair of pi electrons. As I have said, this heteroatom it tends to attract electrons towards itself. Now nucleophile can attack that carbon which is directly bonded to this heteroatom. So this is the nucleophilic attack. Now how we can enhance this attack, how we can make it more easy. Now attack of nucleophile is facilitated when heteroatom is positively charged. Now if we make it positively charged by any means, by some catalyst or by default it is positively charged, then this attack of nucleophile it becomes easy. Now let us see how. Double bond X positive. Now suppose it is positively charged. Now you can see positively charged atom is even more electron active. Now it will attract these electron pairs towards itself. Now its tendency will be more to attract these electrons, so it will make this carbon more electrophilic. Now this carbon will have more positive charge. Now this nucleophile it can attack easily on this carbon atom to give you the further reaction. So this will be the first step. So the first thing is attack of nucleophile. Now it will basically, nucleophile will attack that position which is directly bonded to heteroatom, because that carbon will be most electrophilic, and if we have to enhance their reactivity, then we can make that heteroatom electropositive, because that will enhance its electron attracting power, so that will make that carbon more electrophilic. Now let us see the second type of reagents which are generally electrophiles. Now how they can attack? So electrophiles can also attack, but it will attack to the systems like this: C double bond C X. So suppose this is the system. Now a pair of electrons on the heteroatom. Now this heteroatom can be oxygen, nitrogen or sulfur, any heteroatom. So I have generally represented it by X. So what I will do, I will write this system somewhat here, so that we don't have any confusion. Double bond C X. Okay. Now the pair of electrons on the heteroatom attached to an unsaturated system can be made available for the electrophilic attack. Now let us see how. Now if we donate these electrons here, now this electron will come here. Now this carbon will be negatively charged. Now if we have some electrophile E positive, now it can attack here easily. So that's how electrophile can attack on this carbon. So because this heteroatom, it donates its electron towards the ring, because for an electrophile to attack, it is looking for a position which has more higher electron density. So it will attack at that position with higher electron density. So this heteroatom is donating its electron and enhancing the negative character, partial negative character of this carbon. So now this electrophile, it can attack. Now let us see what type of system is present. This system, suppose this. Now this is similar to this system. Suppose this is pyrrole, so it can be any X. Now here this comes here, electrons come here. Now this electrophile, it can attack here. So this is the similar type of system that I have shown here in pyrrole. So electrophile can attack on this carbon, because this heteroatom, it donates its electron because of resonance to the ring. So it increases its pi density at this position. So now electrophile can attack, and this can also be operative when the heteroatom is negatively charged. Now if this heteroatom is negatively charged, suppose we have system like this, C double bond C X, and general system negative. Now what it does, even its electron donating tendency will be more than X. Now electrophile can attack even with greater ease than before. So the presence of negative charge on this heteroatom, it will enhance the attack of electrophile. Why? Because it increases the electron density at this carbon. So this is similar to the situation of attack of nucleophile. When positively charged heteroatom, it facilitates the attack of nucleophile, whereas negatively charged heteroatom, it facilitates the attack of electrophile. So these are two ways by which nucleophiles and electrophiles will attack on such systems. So that we will discuss one by one when we will discuss their properties of these 5-membered and 6-membered heterocycles. So after the attack of electrophile or nucleophile, the next thing will be retention of aromaticity. As we have I already told you that they undergo substitution reaction. So we have to substitute the atom attached to this position, so that its aromaticity can be retained, and aromatic heterocycles, they tend to retain their aromatic character, that we have already discussed. And a ring oxygen atom, because it is highly electronegative, and it decreases the aromaticity of the ring and increasing the number of ring heteroatoms, that we have already discussed. And benzanylation, suppose we have a 5-membered ring. Now if we attach a benzene ring to it, so it is called benzanylation. Presence of oxygen in the ring, benzanylation, and greater number of heteroatoms in the ring. Suppose we have this system. Okay, so all these systems, what they do, they reduce the aromaticity that we have already discussed in our lecture on aromaticity of these rings. So what it does, they they these systems, they prefer to undergo other reactions than aromatic rings also, because their aromatic character is less. So just you have to remember that the oxygen in the ring increasing number of heteroatoms and benzene it reduces the aromaticity, that we have already discussed the reason for these. So this was just for your information. So just what you have to remember, how electrophile and nucleophile they attack. Now at what position they will attack, that is called orientation, that we will discuss later. So first we were discussing the reactivity, what type of reagent can attack, and how they it can be made easier, that attack can be made easier. Now let us discuss about the selectivity and reactivity, that attack of these reagent is how much selective, and that our heteroaromatic ring is how much reactive towards these reagents. So the relative reactivity and selectivity of the different positions in the heteroaromatic system, suppose this is a heteroaromatic system general. So it has how many positions? One, two, three, four, five positions. So all these positions can be attacked by one or another reagent. So reagent will attack at what position and what will be its reactivity. So to predict that, we have formulated a method which is called reactivity indices. So they have given some parameters, some properties which they study. So depending upon that and depending on the nature of the reagent, they will decide which position will be susceptible for the attack by that reagent. So we decide on the basis of reactivity indices. So what it says, the relative reactivity and selectivity of the different position in the heteroaromatic systems to be attacked by the reagents can be predicted by reactivity indices. So what are these reactivity indices, that I will discuss. Just I want to introduce that we decide on the basis of reactivity indices, and these are how they define that, how they predict the reactivity. What they do a correlation between activation free energy of the process, because for a reaction to occur we must provide activation energy, that you have already discussed in kinetics. So they provide a correlation between this activation energy and some intrinsic parameters. So the parameters that are intrinsic to that compound, which are called reactivity indices, that we will discuss. So related to the electronic properties. So these reactivity indices, they are related to the electronic properties of the heteroaromatic system involved in the reactions. Means what it wants to say, that basically it provides a relation between activation energy and their reactivity indices, which are dependent upon the various which takes into account the electronic properties of the heteroaromatic system, because the reactivity, whether it has to be attacked by electrophile or nucleophile, it is highly dependent upon electronic factors. If electronic density is less, then it will be attacked by nucleophile. If electronic density is more, then there is a greater tendency to be attacked by it will be attacked by electrophile. So that's how it gives a correlation between your activation energy and this reactivity indices. And the introduction of heteroatom in the aromatic system, that we already know that it causes considerable changes in the electronic properties. Suppose this is a aromatic system, cyclopentadienyl anion. Now if we have oxygen in this case, then definitely oxygen has a different electron activity than this carbon. So it will try to attract these electrons towards itself. So what it wants to say, that this introduction of heteroatom in the aromatic system, it causes considerable changes in the electronic properties, and we have discussed this many times. And the parameters relating to the heteroatom is used in the molecular orbital calculations in the heteroaromatic system. So basically different theories use. Some theories predict on the basis of electrostatic interactions. Electrostatic attractions means if it is negatively charged, then it will be attacked by positively charged region because they have attraction for one another. Some predict on the basis of molecular orbital theory. So they consider what type of orbitals are on this electrophile and what type of orbitals are on this system and how will they mix. So these are two parameters that we will discuss. Now the reactivity indices. What are various reactivity indices? We will discuss one by one. The first reactivity index is electron density. So this is the first reactivity indices that depending upon electron density we can predict whether it can be attacked by electrophile or nucleophile, and whether it will be a feasible or no, it will be occur fastly or it will occur slow. Now the pi electron densities, basically aromatic systems we deal with pi electron. So here we deal with pi electron densities. It refers to the electron density at a given carbon atom obtained by summing up the contribution from all the filled molecular orbitals. So what they do, how they calculate pi electron density, that they take sum of all the contribution of all the filled molecular orbitals and they divide by number of atoms to calculate pi electron density per atom at that position where we want to see whether the reaction will be attacked by electrophiles or nucleophiles. And the pi electron densities, they directly determine the orientation of electrophilic and nucleophilic substitution. Now suppose we have general any other region, any it is a general X. Now suppose it has a partial positive charge. Let us assume it has a partial positive charge and here they have partial negative charge. So I have just assumed a system, such type of system. Now you can see here at these carbon positions electron density is high, so these will be attacked by electrophiles. Now heteroatom, here electron density is less, so it will prefer to be attacked by nucleophiles. So that is how this electron density it help us, and this electrophile will attack at that position which has higher electron density. So the pi electron density directly determine the orientation as well as the ease by which the electrophile or nucleophile that can attack. Now as I have already told you, electrophilic attack is considered to occur at the position where electron density is highest, because electrophile is electron loving as is the name suggests. So it loves electrons, so it will prefer to bind to that position which has highest electron density. So their electrophile will attack, whereas nucleophile which is nucleus loving, it loves a positive charge. So the attack of nucleophile, it will take place at the center of low electron density because it needs positive charge. So nucleophile is negatively charged, so it will attack on low electron density position. So that is how we can predict that where the electrophile and nucleophile will attack. So now suppose we have to see the attack of electrophile on this molecule, then what we will do, we will study the electron density at each position. So now then the position where electron density is highest, so the electrophile will attack there. So that's how you determine with the help of electron densities. And in case of homolytic substitution, means free radical substitution, these are generally not affected by electron density distributions because free radical mechanism are somewhat different. So this is general for attack by electrophiles and nucleophiles. So this was your first reactivity index, is electron density. Now the second similar to that is frontier electron density. Here we discussed about electrostatic attractions like positive and negative. Here this frontier electron density discuss about molecular orbitals. So based upon molecular orbitals, they have defined frontier electron densities. Next reactivity index is, so basically this is a property of an isolated molecule first of all, and their use as a reactivity indices, it involves the assumption that the electron distribution in the transition state resembles that in initial state. Now any reaction that occurs, you have discussed, suppose these are reactants, Now when they have to convert to products, so this state is called transition state. This you have already discussed. Now transition state is an hypothetical concept. We cannot isolate them, but we take the help of these molecules to help us understand the mechanism. And activation energy is the energy difference between the energy of this reactant and energy of the transition state. This difference is activation energy. Now but how to, now if transition state is stable, is of lower energy, reaction will be fast. If transition state is of higher energy, reaction will be slow, because we need higher activation energy. And the geometry of transition state can be determined with the help of Hammond's postulates that you have discussed in your lower classes. Hammond's postulates, because we cannot isolate transition state, so we have indirect methods to determine their geometry. But here what he wants to say, that he says that the property of first of all, frontier electron density is property of an isolated molecule. Isolated molecules, the molecules when when we are not considering any attack of reagent, that before the attack of reagent, isolated molecule, and their user reactivity and distribution involves an assumption that the electron distribution in the transition state resembles that in initial state. So they assume that their electron distribution of this state and this reactant initial state, they are same, because we cannot predict this. So they have assumed it to be same as the initial state, which are your reactants. Initial state means before a reaction, reactant plus your reagent before reaction. And the frontier electron distribution is much more uneven, and the relative order of frontier electron densities is not changed when approached by reagent. So when the reagent will approach, any reagent will approach a reactant, so we will assume that their electron distribution will not be influenced by that reagent. We will just consider mixing of orbitals here. The frontier electron densities, they are associated with the electron exchange rather than with the electrostatic interaction, that I want to say. So basically it will consider the exchange of electrons from one region to another. So the electron will be exchanged in terms of molecular orbitals. So basically we will deal with the energies of molecular orbitals rather than their electrostatic interactions. So what will be those orbitals, we will see in our next slides. And if electron exchange, which is called charge transfer, is significant in stabilizing transition state, now after exchange of electrons from reagent to molecule, this transition state is being stabilized, then the frontier electron densities influence the reactivity. Only then we will say that it is influencing the reactivity in such compounds. Now let us see, first let us see the attack of electrophiles. First let us discuss about electrophilic substitution. Now we know that the frontier electron density is the density in the highest filled molecular orbital, and these electrons are considered to be analogous to the valence electrons of an atom. Now what we say, if we have to consider the attack of electrophiles, so they have to accept electrons, they will accept electrons. Now who will give them electrons? The electrons will be given by highest occupied molecular orbital. So this highest occupied molecular orbital, this will be the frontier orbital. Frontier orbital means that will be involved in this reaction. So means we will be discussing about this orbital HOMO, highest occupied molecular orbital, that will give electron to the electrophile, and the orbital of electrophile will be LUMO. Lowest unoccupied molecular orbitals of electrophile, they will attract HOMO of your aromatic compound, and LUMO of your reagent, they will overlap to give you the product. Now if their energy is the same, they will overlap. If their energy they differ, they will not overlap. So that's how we determine the reactivity. So the frontier electron density is the density in the highest filled molecular orbital. So this is the case of electrophilic substitutions, and these electrons, they are, so that this condition is similar to the valence electron of an atom, means the electrons in the outermost shell. In case of molecular orbitals, we call them HOMO, highest filled molecular orbitals. And the electrophilic substitution reaction, it involves the interaction of highest occupied molecular orbital of heteroaromatic system that I have discussed with the lowest unoccupied molecular orbital of electrophile LUMO. So there are interactions between HOMO of your aromatic compound and LUMO of your electrophile. So they will interact, and the activation energy, it depends upon the extent of mixing, which in turn depend upon the difference in the energy between these two type of orbitals. If the energy of these two orbitals is less, then they will mix easily and the activation energy will be less. So the extent of mixing, so if they will mix with greater extent, the activation energy will be lower, and mixing depends upon the energy difference between these two orbitals. If energy difference is less, they will mix efficiently and activation energy will be low. If they will not mix efficiently, so if the energy difference between these two is high, then they will definitely not mix, because the mixing of orbital, it depends upon the energy and shape. So the activation energy, it depends upon extent of mixing, which in turn depends upon the difference in energy between these two type of orbitals, HOMO of aromatic system and LUMO of your electrophile. So that is how we determine the reactivity with the help of a frontier electron density, and it definitely involves your quantum calculations to determine the mixing of these orbitals. And the smaller the difference in the energy, lower will be the activation energy, we have already discussed, and faster will be the reaction with more efficient mixing of the orbitals. So basically what we want that the energy difference between the LUMO of your electrophile and HOMO of your aromatic compound should be least, then the activation energy will be less and reaction will be fast. Now let us see the case of nucleophilic substitution. Now if we have to take by nucleophile, so nucleophile is electron donor, it has to give electrons. Your aromatic compound, it has to accept electrons, so that will the HOMO of your nucleophile, it will interact with the LUMO of your aromatic compound. Means while considering a nucleophilic substitution, we have to consider LUMO of your aromatic compounds. Now the frontier orbital in this case will be unoccupied molecular orbital. So this orbital, the first unoccupied molecular orbital, this will be the frontier orbital for nucleophile attack. The electrons of nucleophile will come in these orbitals, so they will come from HOMO. Now the nucleophilic substitution, it involves the mixing of lowest unoccupied molecular orbital of heteroaromatic system LUMO with the filled molecular orbital of nucleophile. So nucleophile orbital should be mixed. It can be HOMO or something else, but they should be filled. And the heteroaromatic compound tends to accept the electron pair in the transition state, and the frontier electron density at the carbon atom is then the electron density in this molecular orbital as if it were occupied by 2 electrons. So these were consideration while calculating their frontier electron densities. These were some assumptions. How? Because we cannot isolate transition state, so we have to make some assumptions. So these were some assumptions. So basically you have to keep in mind that the nucleophile attack, the LUMO of your aromatic system, it plays a vital role, because they have to interact with the filled molecular orbitals of nucleophile. So the next reactivity indices is localization energy. So what does it mean? The localization energy, it refers to the energy difference between the pi electron energy in the isolated molecule and the transition state complex. So the transition state complex which have been obtained by a tag of either electrophile or nucleophile, and the energy of isolated molecule when there is no tag of electrophile, that difference is called localization energy. And the relative stabilities of different transition states in the same molecule are in the same order as the localization energy. If the transition state is more stable, its energy will be less, than localization energy will be less. And localization energy in the heteroaromatic system, it reflects the relative stability of the transition state complex. I have already discussed with you. Now this is your reactant plus suppose electrophile here energy. Now here is your transition state Re positive. Now if a transition state has lower energy, then that means this transition state is more complex, more stable, and this difference is your localization energy. Difference between these two is the energy of this isolated molecule minus energy of electrophile. This isolated molecule and this transition state is your localization energy. If this difference is less, that means the transition state will be more stable because it will have lower energy. So the localization energy, it reflects the stability of the transition state complexes, and also the kinetic energy, that how the reaction, whether it will be fast or it will be slow. So, and it also predicts the orientation in the substitution reactions. So that was all for today. So basically we discussed about reactivity and selectivity of the heteroaromatic system. Basically we did some various factors by which we will govern their attack of different regions, where they will, at what position they will attack. So in our next lecture we will discuss using this how the reactivity of 5 membered and 6 membered is with electrophiles and with the nucleophiles. So that we will discuss in our next lecture. So thank you very much. Please don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends. Thank you once again.